If everyone could kind of find a seat. Go ahead and filter in and grab a seat so we can get started for this great celebration day. That would be great. Thank you. All right, thank you everyone for coming today to our celebration of the opening of the latest segment of 275. Today we'll be holding a press conference with some speakers, specifically Governor Pillen, Director Vicki Kramer of the Nebraska Department of Transportation, and Dave Rexon from Graham Construction, who was the prime on the last segment that was just completed last week. Following the presentation, we will be moving outside for our ribbon cutting and then a couple photo opportunities. Please make sure you stick around. We do have some gifts for some folks to be able to hand out. So if you're, make sure you don't take off too quick so that we can make sure and get those out to the folks we've got them for. And with that, we'll go ahead and kick it off with Governor Pillen.
Well, thank you. Good morning, everybody. What a beautiful morning in Nebraska. Have a little bit of moisture, and nobody's complaining, and everybody that is responsible, our heart and souls of our communities, our volunteer firefighters, can all relax today. Everybody can relax. Before we talk about today, I thought I would share, I have extraordinary moments getting to be your governor, goosebump moments nonstop. I thought I would share extraordinary moments in the last month, and maybe one that we tend to, at least I always used to take for granted. And so one of them in the last 45 days, we got a letter from Chief Justice Heavican saying that he's going to retire effective November 1st. So we went through an extraordinary process. So just kind of going back, the state of Nebraska, we have the legislative branch, we have the executive branch, we have the judicial branch. And the highest calling of government, right, besides infrastructure, is keeping us safe. And so the judicial branch plays a vital role in that. And so with Chief Justice Heavican giving his resignation, we went through an extraordinary process to be able to come up with who the next Chief Justice. And so as Joe Kelly, our Lieutenant Governor, and I went through that process, we just looked at each other and said, holy cow, this is such an extraordinary privilege. And so what I want you to know is two things. Number one, being your governor, it'll never be normal. And if it ever wakes up and it's normal, I don't deserve to be your governor. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And one of the things about the next Chief Justice, Jeff Funk, was exactly that. He lived his life in Nebraska City. He was an attorney. He had the calling to come back home. He practiced. He became a county attorney. He became a district attorney. And then 8 years ago, he was appointed to the Supreme Court. And I asked him, I said, Jeff, how long did it take to get normal to serve in the Supreme Court of the state of Nebraska? And he looked at me and he said, are you crazy? It's never normal. And that I think for all of us that are public servants, that's the calling. And so I hope that you feel fantastic. Our next Chief Justice is an extraordinary, brilliant mind, but the temperament to serve and understand what an extraordinary privilege it is, and make sure that he stands up for our values. So anyway, this is a really, really, really big morning, and it's a privilege for me to be here. These projects don't get done without a ton of support and a ton of the word I'm not very good at, patience. Takes a lot of patience. And so we can't thank everybody enough for the perseverance. Needless to say, infrastructure, it's absolutely vital. It's absolutely vital to our quality of life. It's vital to our economy, making and more essential every single day as our economy grows. So 275 corridor, we made progress enhancing the safety and supporting economic growth for Northeast Nebraska. I can't thank the Department of Transportation Vicki, you and all of your team, Graham and Cost Construction, and all the subcontractors who made the Scribner to West Point segment possible. You know, needless to say, I've learned about 7 generations. I didn't have the ability to understand things. I see things differently when we start thinking about 7 generations. And you just start thinking about what this impact's going to have for generations to come. As the US-275 expansion continues, it holds extraordinary promises that a lot of us can't totally comprehend what impact it's going to have, not only here, but just all throughout Nebraska. And I can't, again, send my congratulations enough to all the public servants and all their work. But let me just say this, while this segment's complete, we need to do a lot more to speed it up. We need to do a lot more to speed it up to get it complete to Norfolk. I've directed Director Kramer and her team at the Nebraska Department of Transportation to take all the necessary steps towards condensing the timeline. That means speed it up a lot to complete the 275 corridor. It's a very, very high priority to speed it up and get it completed. We will deliver this project. We will deliver this project before what would be the end of my second term to complete it. From my view, 2033 is totally unacceptable. Doesn't work. Inadequate transportation infrastructure in northeast Nebraska affects all of us. It affects steel makers, manufacturers, meat processors, livestock, grain producers, farmers, small businesses. The communities need 275 completed. Local support for this project's been strong and sustained. Regional communities, many people in this room have worked your tails off to say, hey, how do we get this accomplished? Regional communities, businesses understand the need to complete it. So now that it's open to traffic, we rely on Nebraska citizens to continue to make good common sense choices to enhance our safety. I think we need to all keep talking about, and we need to buckle up every day. I did believe it. We need to put these dadgum things away, right? And the safety of our people, of our maintenance workers working. We've had too many accidents this year because people are texting and driving. It's just absolutely crazy stuff. So, and we need to stay within the speed limits. So this October 30th, we proclaim Buckle Up and Phone Down Day to help reinforce those. So with that, maybe a couple other things that I just want to comment on briefly would be, you know, we were able to pass legislation in the first session to be able to do what I think many of us in this room believe should have been done years and years ago, and that is to get bonding approved so that we can complete infrastructure. And so today we will be letting out that the next 12 miles have been let and bid and are moving forward, and Hawkins Construction won that. So the next 12 miles, dirt will start being moved at 10 o'clock this morning, right, Vicki?
You can talk to Chris about that.
So the next 12 miles are underway, and Vicki and her team will be working very hard to make sure that so that we're completed. You know, the reality would be that we can be completed to Norfolk by 2028. And that's not very long, but everything's in place to be able to get that accomplished. So I can't give kudos enough to everybody here and all the contractors and everybody working to make these things happen. It takes a full team effort of Nebraskans, and that's what's cool about Nebraska. We come together, we get it done. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Dave Rickson with Graham Construction, the contractor on his final completed segment. Congratulations, Dave. Thanks for all your work.
Thank you. Thanks, Governor. It's my pleasure to be here today, speaking on behalf of the contracting community. I see a few familiar faces out there from Cost, Amy Collins, and we're here for you, Governor, to help get the rest of that one done. Unfortunately, we weren't the low bidder on that 12 miles, but we're ready for the next one. So yeah, I'm happy to be here to celebrate this 275 project from, I call it Hooper to West Point. Like the governor said, we couldn't have done it without the community and the local contractors around. I always like to say thanks to a few of those. Brady Vaca Excavating, he was a big hand on our portion, always there to on a phone call to move a piece of equipment or anything that we may need. Thank you very much for that. The local community, Russell Pup, we took over up there on top of that hill. We made a mess, and he was there to help us on different things, and I couldn't stand up here and not tell him thank you. Obviously, and then third, the stakeholders, City of Scribner, Dodge County Fair. We were right in your backyard for 3 years, and we got out of there. That's a lot of people coming around, a lot of equipment and stuff like that. So Dodge County itself and many others, thank you for that. And then obviously the project team from Graham, Martin, Ron, Mike, all you guys, thanks for all your efforts, much appreciated. And then obviously the local farm owners or the farmers and people around there. I'll never forget, we had just been awarded the project, and we came up and we were talking to a nice lady that was walking her dog up and down the county road, and she says, I can't believe it. We had a concrete truck drive by here once every 30 minutes. And we walked away and we said, oh boy, this is gonna be rough, because we're gonna put one in front of our house every 2 minutes. And we did that for an entire summer. And I never heard, at least it never made its way back to the office, that we were in trouble or we made her mad, and we're out of there, and she's able to get that going. Made some of those county roads one-way streets for safety on our part, on the public's part, and again, thanks everyone for that. As far as the project goes, this project was very important to Graham. This was our first project as a group with a batch plant up on the hill, and to help the DOT bring some more bidders into their market to try and get this done at some good taxpayer dollars. So it was good for that. Made a lot of people proud. Graham's a North American company, and we've with this project and today we've caught the attention of the corporate office here at Graham, and so very proud. This is our second project on the corridor, not quite the 275 corridor, but back in 2003 we opened up the Fremont Southeast Beltway, and so we like working on the corridor, we like the work, and like I said, Governor, we're here to help you get it done, and yourself, Vicki. Obviously, we're encouraged by Governor Pillen's commitment to the highway, building the highways throughout Nebraska, and we want to help you do that. Over the past, I guess I just want to move into the safety side of it. You know, I got lots of family out here today, and you guys are all aware, and everybody in this community is aware of, you know, the safety of this corridor. Now, we've heard of the accidents, we've seen the accidents. We had accidents while we were trying to build this thing. And specifically our portion of the work, you know, the bypass around Scribner provides a safe corridor that I like to talk about. And the reason I like to talk about it is my family is from Scribner. My mom and dad both went to school in Scribner, and so this project obviously hits home. And when we were chasing it, that made a lot of, I really wanted to get this one. But I go back to safety because I've heard of the accidents out on 275, and the Dairy Queen and the swimming pool were on the other side of the highway. So when I went to Grandma and Grandpa's, I had to cross that highway on a bicycle, on foot, however that was. And I saw the trucks going through there over the past few years. It's like I couldn't imagine being a parent today what it would be like sending my kids across that highway. So I see that, and that's another thing that just really came to mind is the safety that this project brought to the town of Scribner. So that being said, you know, I'd like to just thank Governor Pillen for his work and in doing this. Thanks for Vicki, and I'll open it up to turn it over to Vicki for the.
You know, the governor and Dave said it. These projects don't get done without strong support from communities, without a strong department, and a really strong contracting community. So, you know, today we're celebrating 3 segments being completed that honestly, without those three things coming together and those partnerships coming together, we wouldn't be able to sit here and see the amount of faces that had so much buy-in to that. Without you, we wouldn't have done it. And there's a couple people that we have to thank. Our district engineers who every day for the last 10 years have lived and breathed 275. It is, when we went through BNA and Transportation Innovation Act, it was what is the primary project and the commitment we have to get done to establish buy-in for the department. And it's 275. It's the corridor that really Northeast Nebraska counts on. And so thank you very much to Kevin Domagala, to Tom Goodbarn, and Tim Weander and others who have been there. But you live and breathe it with the complaints. Our DCEs, Rob, Barb, you guys live and you move everything and you keep it moving. So thank you very much. To our PMs, to Doug, to Rick Fisher, thank you. Really, your support and the construction techs that help turn this work and make sure that when the contractors want to work and can work, and Graham calls and say, I need some extra hours, or Cost is like, hey, I can get this done, you guys were there to be there. So thank you very much for that. I very much appreciate it, because without that, we wouldn't have made the timeline. The timeline for the Scribner to West Point, it's big, right? 18.5 miles, 2021. We've been at it a while. But once you complete a project, the first question we have to always ask at the department is, what's next, right? The corridor's not done. You got 28 miles still left. And so that's why it was so important to hear from the governor today that there is a commitment to 275. There's a commitment to condensing the timeline. It does mean making it faster. It means the commitment from the department is we will do everything in our power to get this corridor complete. It means that we awarded the next segment today. And we will lay out the plan for the following segments in December. And that includes innovative financing. It takes a lot of work from the department to make this happen because the cash flow, it isn't there. And so what the governor's telling the community today is he is prioritizing this. He is saying we are safeguarding 275 and we are going to make sure that we do everything we can to complete it by 2029. That is a strong commitment. And so for everyone who helped us get to today, it's what tomorrow looks like. And I hope to see everybody back here when we complete the next segment and when we actually finalize this corridor, because that's when the real fun happens. It's what we saw on Highway 30. So stay in it. And please, as a community member, thank you for being here and supporting it, because there's a few of you, Dirk Peterson, others, who have been after us and biting at our heels for the last 10, 20 years to make this day happen. And without that push, we just wouldn't be able to be here. But we need to see that same push on projects turn to safety. And that same commitment that we have to make jobs happen and make work happen on safety. And Governor, I've appreciated your support over the last couple of years just to make sure that the awareness around safety matters, because we lost 2 teammates this last year and another one still recovering at Madonna. And for Dave and Mark, we need to do better. And so we very much appreciate that as the construction comes back up, you as a citizen, you as a driver are committed to putting your phone down and buckling up and doing the right thing. Because those contractors out there, our teammates out there, they rely on you to be responsible. So thank you for your dedication to these projects. Thank you for your dedication to safety. And Governor, I'll invite you back up if you'd like to answer any questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Vicki, and I was remiss. I'd like to introduce Casey Balitz, our Director of Economic Development, for being here. I disrupted Casey's life in the last 18 months, and he said yes, and Vicki said yes, and I will tell you it's the other piece as you build your team, and we really, really are, and you can run government like a business. You can do more with less. You can focus on high-quality value and with extraordinary leadership, and 2 beautiful examples. I think the other thing I wanted to add was both under the leadership of Casey and of Vicki, our mindset maybe is really aggressive towards working with the federal government to get more than our fair share of money to Nebraska. When I was a young man, when I bought my first farm, I told my dad I wasn't going to be in the farm program. Long story short, he said, how are you going to compete with your neighbors not being in the farm program? I wasn't governor but 30 days, and the governor of Oklahoma, by all means, was Kevin Stitt, called me and said, hey, Pillin, how you doing? He said, you know, I'll never get in your stuff, but something I wanted you to know. I have an office of the governor in D.C., and we're 10th out of 50 states in getting federal dollars back home to Oklahoma. He said, I don't know what you all doing in Nebraska, but you rank 49th out of 50. So my competitive juices came over, and I said, we sure as hell ain't going to lose to Oklahoma very long. So we're, as a team, all working very hard. I hope you give us a thumbs up on that. I can see the meter running, but we're working hard on federal funds with no strings attached so that we can get investments of equity. We've gotten a number of different grants for transportation. We've gotten $1 billion, that's with a B, for our hospital systems across the state of Nebraska to be able to help us with mental health, to help us with EMT training, with all sorts of things. We've obviously working hard on dollars to be able to help grow our agricultural economy. We got a grant from the EPA that's going to be transformative across the state, and we just got another $200 million grant for rural electrical infrastructure. That's another big challenge we have in the state. We're running out of electricity. We have to attract dollars so that we can grow our electrical grid, so that we can grow our economy. So those are things really important, don't happen without great leaders like Vicki and Casey, so I'm grateful for that. Any questions?
Great. Let's cut a ribbon.
All right, let's do a ribbon cutting. Perfect.